Over 1,000 Russian soldiers who are sick, injured, or refusing to fight are being held prisoner in a concentration camp. They are chained to their bunks and denied medical treatment or hearings before they are sent to Ukraine to die en masse in meat-wave assaults. The Novokuznetsk capital Telegram channel has posted a video reportedly of men from the 74th Kuzbas Motorized Rifle Brigade showing multiple men lying in bunks inside a tented structure. They are clearly chained to the bunks with wrist manacles. Relatives of the men have released the video and say that according to the men, a penal regiment, similar to the Stalin-era Strafbats, has been created in a camp in Yurga, in Russia's Kemerovo region in Siberia. The men are a mixture of the wounded and sick, those who went AWOL, and some who came into conflict with their previous commanders and were transferred to the penal regiment as a punishment. One soldier says, "There are people without fingers, there are old men who don't understand where they are, there are people on crutches." The prisoners say they are confined to the camp and banned from using phones. Harsh punishments are inflicted for any offense, including being beaten and denied food, water, or access to a toilet. Last week, 5 military policemen beat up a boy. They think they are tough and right, says one relative. They turned in a comrade from the company. The military police took him, poured pepper spray on his face, and beat him, another source says. A relative comments on how the imprisoned soldiers are treated. If in the camp they feed you once a day, then in the penal camp they sometimes forget to feed you at all. They don't always take you to the toilet either, they wet themselves. What kind of treatment is this? They sit in handcuffs and pray that they won't be killed. We just don't know what can be done. It turns out they will be killed at the front anyway, and they won't be able to live in the refusnik camp anyway. The camp is said to include a prison within a prison, a holding area where offenders are kept on a concrete floor without food or water. They put people in 30 by 10 square meters and let them go to the toilet once a day, or they might forget. People go into bottles and sometimes under themselves, one soldier says. If you start to assert your rights, literally, if you ask a doctor for a wounded man who has started to fester, you are sent to the internal prison. In what appears to be a fairly common scam in the Russian army, the guards force the prisoners to transfer money to them electronically. They take away their phones, then secretly bring them for money. Call from other people's numbers. Well, it's purely a prison. The camp is said to be just one of many similar concentration camps across Russia for soldiers who are sick, wounded, or refusing to fight. The relative of one soldier imprisoned at Yurga says that he was transferred from a similar camp in Berdsk near Novosibirsk. All the sick and wounded from Berdsk were thrown into one regiment with Category D unfit for military service, on crutches, bandaged. In November, they promised this regiment of invalids a military medical commission, but in the end, they were simply thrown into Yurga. Now they are not promised any medical commission to determine their fitness, no examination. They will be taken straight to the front. There are about 700 people left there in Berdsk, as I was told. According to the men at Yurga, they are all going to be sent to the front in the next few days, where they will be expended in meat assaults. They will transport us under escort like cattle. We will seal the carriages at the prisoners' expense, they said. Just like they transported prisoners in 1945, just like that. No exits, no entrances. Some had already left in November. There was the first dispatch to Kursk. Some had already been killed. The treatment of these soldiers highlights two important points. First, it's consistent with an ongoing pattern of sick and badly wounded men being sent back to fight, and usually to die, even going into assaults on crutches. Second, it's a sign that the legal framework, which is supposed to protect Russian soldiers' rights, has broken down on a large scale in Russia, as well as in occupied areas of Ukraine. Since at least 2022, refuseniks have been taken to a network of basement prisons, most notoriously at Zaitsev in the north of the occupied Luhansk region of Ukraine, where they have been tortured and starved to force them back to the front. Now it seems that a similar and perhaps even larger system of what are effectively concentration camps has been established deep within Russia itself, illustrating how the worst brutalities of the Russian army have spread back into Russia. Ukrainian 413th UAV Systems Battalion raid also showed how they targeted one after another Russian air defense system and other heavy equipment. Strikes by the 413th Separate Battalion of Unmanned Systems raid in February using FPV drones, heavy bombers, and Switchblade 600, OSA-SAM, TOR-SAM, 2 Strela 10 SAMs, TOS-1A, BM-21 Grad, MLRS, and 4 tanks were destroyed. The 413th Separate Unmanned Systems Battalion RAID is a Ukrainian military unit specializing in unmanned aerial vehicle operations. Established in 2024, it has played a significant role in the ongoing conflict with Russia. In February 2025, the battalion reported destroying approximately 30 units of Russian military equipment. Witkoff parroting Russian Ministry of Defense nonsense. Absolutely stunning how easy they fall for Russian propaganda, where they claimed that 7 Shaheds were shot down by Russia itself.
With regard to your question on some of the reporting with regard to the Russian drones last night, I have it on good information from a telephone call I had before I went on this show that President Putin issued an order within 10 minutes of his call with the president, directing Russian forces not to be attacking any Ukrainian energy infrastructure. And any attacks that happened last night would have happened before that order was given. In fact, the Russians tell me this morning that 7 of their drones were on their way when President Putin issued his order, and they were shot down by Russian forces. So I tend to believe that President Putin is operating in good faith. He said that he was going to be operating in good faith to the president yesterday, and I take him at his word.
Trump just completed a very good call with President Zelensky. It lasted about an hour. Much of the discussion was based on my call with Putin to align both Russia and Ukraine on their requests and needs. We are very much on track. A statement from Secretary of State Rubio and National Security Advisor Waltz will be released soon. Zelensky shared details of his call with Trump, confirming that Trump relayed his conversation with Putin on March 18th. Ukraine agreed to halt strikes on energy infrastructure if Russia does the same. Zelensky also confirmed that the U.S. proposed a full ceasefire along the front line, and Ukraine accepted. They discussed battlefield updates, POW exchanges, abducted Ukrainian children, and strengthening air defense. Ukraine and the U.S. will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to work out technical details of the ceasefire.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.